Hey guys, welcome back. Today on The Untidy Artist, I'm going to show you exactly how to make angel wings and a halo for a fairy doll. These can also be used for any type of doll. About 7 years ago, I posted my first angel fairy tutorial. It's one of my most popular tutorials, and I recently updated it. So I have a new angel fairy tutorial. The links for both of those tutorials will be below. And I also have a new angel fairy kit. If you would like to purchase one, you'll get everything you need to make an angel fairy, including the wings and the halo. And I'll put a link for that below. In this video, we're going to go into more detail in exactly how to make those wings and the halo. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That would be amazing. And let me know in the comments below what new fairy kits or even tutorials you'd like to see for fairy dolls. Let's grab some supplies and get started. All of the supplies I'm showing you come in my kit, but you can also gather up your own supplies and make your angel wings that way too. So if you have your own supplies, this video will also help you learn how to make these cute little angel wings. So the first thing you're going to need is a flower that has daisy-like petals. We will be cutting these petals apart, and it's how we'll be creating the feathers on our angel wings. This is the flower that comes in my kit, and this flower also gives you enough petals to make the fairy skirt as well. So you just want something that has daisy-like petals. We'll be using a few layers of these petals. If you have a smaller daisy, you'll need to use maybe 2 flowers so you have enough petals. And then you'll need an angel wing pattern. This also comes in my kit, but I have a link below that you can download and print your own. And then I have some cardstock and a piece of white felt. And then I have 2 3-inch pieces of gold stretch cord. We'll be using this to make little loops to slide her arms through. And I have a 3-inch piece of wire to make our wings bendy. This is the cloth covered floral wire I use in my kit, but any kind of wire will work. And then I have a 6-inch piece of my gold cord we'll be using for her halo. I've got a sharp pair of scissors, my trusty glue gun set on low because it's easier to work with the glue, and we're ready to get started. So the first step is to cut out the angel wing pattern. And once again, there's a link below of where you can print it off at home if you'd like, but this does come in the kit. And so we have our little wing pattern here. I actually created the same pattern, exactly same pattern 7 years ago. And then we're going to take it and put it on the cardstock. And I'm awkwardly tracing it onto the cardstock. And this is what we're going to be placing inside of our angel wings. So go ahead and cut that out. In this first part, we're doing a lot of tracing and cutting. So now we're going to trace it onto our felt, and we want 2 pieces of this. So I like to just fold my felt in half, and then I make sure I'm holding it together. You could also pin it together in this part so the felt doesn't move around, but we're just going to cut that out. And you can see I'm just holding it together so it stays nice and even. So I have 2 pieces of it traced onto the felt and cut out. Now you're going to take that same piece of cardstock and you're going to trim about 1/8 of an inch around the entire piece of the cardstock because this is going to go in between the felt. So we want it just a little bit smaller than the felt. And then you're still going to have that original pattern that you cut out for future wings in case you decide you want to make more angel wings. Then I'm going to take my glue gun and add a layer of glue to the cardstock, and I'm going to glue it onto one of the pieces of the felt. And you can see we've just got about 1/8 of an inch around the entire outside of the felt. And then I'm going to glue along the bottom, and I'm going to take that little 3-inch piece of wire and I'm going to slide it right on top of that glue. And you can see it doesn't come out all the way to the ends of the felt. You want it to just fit right inside the felt, so it doesn't go all the way to the edges. Now we're going to attach our straps. So I put 1 dab of glue right on the inside. Hold that down for a second, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're working in the middle of the wings right now. Now we're going to take our felt, our other piece of felt, and we're going to attach it just to the top part of our wings. So you don't want to put any glue along the bottom part of the wings. We're working above the wire. So I'm just taking some glue, running it along just the top part of our wings. You can see I don't go below the wire, and then just glue down that top part. So at this point, nothing is attached at the bottom of our wings because we still need to loop that stretch cord around to create the straps. So then I fold the felt up, and we're going to put another dab of glue above the wire to create that first loop. So I loop it up and around and press it into that glue and hold it down for a second so it sets. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So another dab of glue above the wire. I loop the cord up and around, and you can see it's directly below where we attached it at the top. So the straps are nice and even. And we have some little straps. And I love this because you can take them on and off your angel. I also think these are just the cutest decoration all on their own. Then I'm going to put some glue down across the bottom, and we're going to finish pressing down that felt. And for some reason, this glue stick created all of these little spider webby pieces of glue, which is one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't know what was up with this glue stick, but it was a fight the whole time. So now we have our angel wing base. We're going to go ahead and set that aside. Here's a close-up, and you can see that by using that wire, our wings bend. Now we're going to start cutting apart the individual petals on our flower, and depending on how big your petals are, you might use a different number than I do from my kit. If you have purchased my kit, I will list below exactly how many petals I use in creating the angel wings. Also keep in mind, it depends on how close you glue them together onto our angel wing base. That will also determine how many petals you need. So I cut out a ton of petals, and I love how they look like feathers. I originally tried doing this with feathers, and I just thought this was so much cuter. And I also feel like it just ties together the flower fairy as well. So we're going to run some glue along the bottom of our base, and we're working on the side that has the straps. And I'm going to put 4 petals across the bottom. And you can see I'm still fighting with my glue. So we're lining them up so they're hanging over the edge about an inch in an even layer. And keep in mind, you might need more or less of the petals in each layer depending on how big your petals are. And then we're going to trim off the little pieces that are poking up. And we want to make sure that the petals are lined up horizontally and all even at the bottom. Now we're going to add our next layer. So I add another line of glue. We want the petals to overlap slightly, and so they're hanging over our first layer, leaving maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch below. And you also want to offset the petals so they're not laying directly on top of each other. And then go ahead and trim off the little pieces that are poking up, and we're going to add another layer. Once again, offsetting the petals so they're not laying directly on top of each other. One tip that I can give you and something to pay attention to is notice which way your petals are curving. I keep mine random. I like some of them curving up and some of them curving down. I feel like it gives it more of a natural look and looks more like feathers. But if you want them all curving the same way, that's definitely something you'll want to pay attention to. So I'm just adding this 3rd layer. Once again, I'm using 4 petals. And then we're going to trim off the top and move on to our final layer. So with this next layer, we're actually going to trim down some of our petals so we have little mini feathers to put along the top. So I just take a couple at a time, hold them between my fingers, and just cut a smaller little petal or feather. Little baby feathers. And then I'm going to glue 4 of those across the top. And once again, I'm offsetting those petals so they're not laying directly on top of each other. And then I'm going to trim off the very top. And then we're going to repeat the same process on the other side. You'll notice I'm not putting any petals right in the middle. That's because this is where the angel wings will lay against the back of the fairy. So a couple tips with this side, make sure that those layers are lining up horizontally across the bottom so you don't have lopsided wings. So I've got my first layer and I'm going to trim off the excess. Move on to my second layer, once again, making sure that they're lining up along the bottom horizontally with that second layer. And you'll notice I'm not really paying attention to which way the petals face. I like it random. I've done it both ways and I just think this looks really cute. And then just adding our last layer of little baby petals across the top. And then I'm going to trim off the very top again. Now we're going to flip the wings over and place our petals on the other side. I went back and trimmed off the top. And this time, instead of working one side at a time, you're just going to go all the way across. We don't need to worry about leaving that middle part open. So I am lining up the petals so they follow along horizontally in an even layer along the bottom. And same steps. So I get my first layer done. I make sure those are nice and even, and you can go back and while that glue's still tacky, if you need to move any of the petals to even them up, you can. And I'm going to put my second layer, offsetting the petals slightly so they're not laying directly on top of each other. Trim off the top. And this side I think is easier to do because you're not having to worry about the straps in the middle. So the last thing we have to do is our final layer of little baby petals. And we want this layer to match up with the top layer on the other side. So I just take 4 of the petals and lay them along that top layer and do the same thing on the other side. Go back, trim up anything that needs to be trimmed up so the top is nice and even. And you can see we have these darling bendy angel wings that are so cute. I think the wire adds so much dimension and just makes them so cute. I love being able to bend them back and forth. And then we're going to slide our angel fairy's arms through the loops. And we have these beautiful little angel wings. Now, a couple other things you can do to customize these wings. If you have spray glitter, I have added spray glitter to the wings before. It's really pretty. It just leaves a very thin layer of glitter across the wings, which makes them stand out a little bit. Also, I have glitter that comes in my kit. And if you wanted to, you could dip the tips of her petals in the glitter, which I think would also be a beautiful addition. I personally really like them just white. I think it's just so pretty. And once again, I love how it ties her skirt in. Now, all we have left to do is create the halo. So I'm going to take my 6-inch piece of stretch cord, hold it between my thumb and 2 fingers, and wrap it around my 2 fingers a couple times. Then I'm going to take it, I'm going to place that over my fairy's head, and this way you can adjust if you need it to be a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger to make sure that it just sits on top of her head. I make sure that both of the layers are even, and then I'm going to take my glue gun, and using the tip of the glue gun, I'm going to melt the excess glue and cut off the very ends of that stretch cord. And I use the tip of my glue gun all the time to melt down glue and just give it a more finished look. And then simply place the halo on your angel's head. And that's it, guys. We're all set. I will definitely be decorating this holiday season with angel fairies. I love the wings. I love the halo. If you have any comments or questions, please post those below. If you're interested in purchasing a fairy kit, you can do that. There's a link to my Etsy shop below. And whether you purchase a kit or use your own supplies, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate your kind words and all of your supports, and we'll see you guys next time.